Maine Art Hill in Kennebunk and Algonquin, Maine. And I'm here today with artist David Witbeck. This is the first day of your 1 week spotlight in our Spotlight Gallery here at 5 Chase Hill Road in Kennebunk. And David's doing something special for us this afternoon. You know him for his beautiful oil paintings. You can see some of the imagery behind me here. But he also is well known for his woodcut prints. And David is going to show us about that process. Here's David Witbeck.
Hey, thanks, John. Oh, excuse me. My granddaughter just came in. Let's see. Well, woodcut print making is probably the oldest.
You want to run and give your grandfather
making.
a hug? Go right ahead. Come on, do it. Go ahead. Instagram Live. It's a good moment.
Hi, Emily. Love you.
Yes.
Hi, Derek. Anyway, well, woodblock printing is probably the oldest form of print making. There is probably thousands of years old. Apparently, the Japanese and Chinese used it to print fabric and various things. It's the most basic form of print making, where you have to take a block of wood.
It is. As a matter of fact, we're doing a
black
live
and white
Instagram
woodcut. You just cut away the areas that you want to be white, and ink up the rest of it, and print it on a piece of paper, and you have a black and white print.
You all together?
So I didn't bring any ink, and because it's messy to deal with, and I didn't want to mess up the gallery, but I brought just about everything else involved in the process. Here's the
so this is our Spotlight Gallery.
some
Here. Yeah, so we do a
linoleum, and these are some already blocks that have already been cut. But I usually use this plywood. It's two-sided plywood. It's Sheena plywood that's made in Japan. You can use any kind of wood, but this is very just convenient. And just tools of the trade. Here's a brayer for rolling on the ink. And often I use a press to print, but traditional way is to use a baron, where you just put the paper down and you rub it and you peel it up. I brought some samples of work in progress. This is, come closer. You can come as close as you want. This one probably demonstrates the whole process from beginning to end best. Initially for this, I did a drawing. This is for last year's Christmas card of a Christmas cod. Christmas cod, okay. And then I scaled it down and made a copy of it, the size of the block. And then I made a tracing from the block. And then I took this tracing, I flipped it around backwards because it's going to print mirror image, and transferred it to a block, put the drawing there. And then I cut this, which is a key block. This is just the basic drawing of the black and white. You can pass it around and take a closer look if you want. And then from the key block, I use this handy dandy little registration frame I came up with. I took that block, we'll pretend this is that block, put it in the registration frame, put a piece of paper over it, made a nice gooey black and white print, flip that up while it's still fastened down, slipped another block under there, put this back down, and then rub this. And when I peeled that up again, I'd have that image on this block so that I knew where everything goes. So then I would cut, I did that with two different blocks. This is a 3-block print. So there's that print, that block, which is the black block, which is this. Then there is a separate block, this block, actually it's a 2-block print, but I printed it in 3 colors, which is the color of the fish. No, it is a 3-block print. Then there's this block, which is the blue. Okay. Yes, I think I got it now. I'm confusing myself. So all these were then printed in registration, starting with the lightest color first, which is this. So I would put this in like so, put the paper over it like so, using these things, which I've subsequently used this to register other prints, but I would just print this here like this, print the blues, print a whole edition of the blues. You know, I think I did like 30 of these. And then when they dried, I would put in the yellow block. And again, using the same registration pins, all the ones that I printed with blue, I put down over there and print the yellow on them. And then finally, I would take the black block, which is right there. And again, using the same, all those things have been painted to those two colors, printed those two colors, put this down and print the black. And then I would get these prints. And these are rejects because they're just scraps of paper and they're too close to the edge there, but that's the basic process. If you have questions, I'd love to entertain questions because it's easier to answer questions than just go on and on.
I have a question. How did you go from this to the key block again?
Okay, so I went from this to, okay, from this I have a piece of card, so like a carbon paper, it's red paper. So I put this on the key block, like this, okay. And then I would draw over this with the carbon and they peeled up, and then I'd have a little drawing here, and then I would cut away everything that was in the drawing. Okay.
So it's very soft. You'd be able to cut away.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I like to use linoleum more than wood, because it's so much easier to cut. Here's a piece of some just raw stock here, and you can see it's very flexible. As it gets older, it gets hard, but if you heat it up with a hair dryer or something, it softens it up. And these are the tools I use. They're just basic set of Japanese cutting tools. They're kind of mid-grade. You can buy really expensive ones. You can buy really cheap ones. These are kind of mid-grade, but probably the most useful ones, there's a U-gouge and V-gouges. And basically, these will cut it very easily.
How long does it take you to make one?
Something like this on linoleum, I can probably cut this block in, I don't know, an hour or so, but yes. But then using wood, it's a longer process. These are some. This is a recent print. Where did Taylor go? Taylor, do you have this print? This new one? Okay. This is the most recent one I did. This is actually 3 blocks. This is using wood. It's the exact same process. It's just you're cutting wood instead of linoleum. And so you can take a look at this. This is a key block. And when Taylor brings the print out, you'll see that it's a 3-color print, 3 shades of gray. It's got a black block. And on the back of that is a light gray block. And on this is a darker gray block. And this is a reject from something else. So here's the here's the print. So there's a very light gray block, which is this color, and then a mid-gray block, which is all this other stuff, and then the black block, which is printed over it. So every subsequent color goes right on top of all the other colors. So underneath the black, there is this color and that color as well. Thanks, Taylor. More questions. This is, I'm trying, where is this one? Maybe they sold this one out. This is, again, is just a 2-color block. On this side, there is the black, the base of the key block, which is the basic drawing. It's hard to tell now because once you ink it up and you clean the ink off it, the whole thing gets stained. And then there's this gray on this side. So I start the process using the black, cutting the key block. And then from the key block, I offset it so I know where the drawing is on here. Then I cut the gray block. But when I print them, I always start with a lighter color first. So I print the gray first, and when that all dried, I print the black on top of it. So that's one way to do it, using different blocks. Another way to make a woodcut is called a reduction woodcut. And when you do a reduction woodcut, and I don't have the complete process here, but when you do a reduction woodcut, you do different colors all on the same block. This is a reduction woodcut. And this is another one done slightly differently. But again, the process is the same. I made a drawing. I traced the drawing. I transferred it to a block. And then I cut away everything that I wanted to be white. This is actually the first color I did 2 different versions of it. So I cut away everything I wanted to be white. And then I printed my lightest color. In this case, it's a pink. In that case, it's a light gray. And so I had to print a whole edition of these. I think I did like 25 or 30 of them. And then they had to dry. And then with the same block, I cut away everything that I wanted to stay the pink or the gray there. And then reprinted in registration using my fancy little registration thing, the light gray on top. And then when that's dry, I'd cut away everything that I wanted to stay that color and print the next color, which in this case is a dark gray. And again, cut away everything I wanted to stay dark gray, and then just printed the black. And the reason it's called the reduction print is when you're all done, instead of having 3 different blocks with all the stuff on it, all you wind up is the block with just what's left over with it, in this case, the black. So this is all everything else has been removed except the black. Questions? No? You don't have any of these, do you, Taylor? I don't think you have any of these. I think I'll have to get this. They're relatively new. Okay, here's just another example of this print. I think you have one of these. This was done just as a pure black and white print, and I kind of liked it as just black and white. But then I thought, what if I added a color to it? So here was the block. Originally, it had all this stuff was all black and white in here too. I'll pass it around later. But then after I made an addition of the black ones, I thought I'd add a color. So I cut out all that area and then cut a second block for the blue. And again, and then printed again. And this is a reject because it's a horrible shade of blue. But then I print the blue, and then when that dried, I print the black over it. So. Anything else? Oh, one last thing. This is something that I've only done a few of, and I'm looking forward to doing more of in the future. This is a combination woodcut monoprint. A couple of these down here. And this is, for years I've been doing figure drawing once a week. I accumulate masses and masses of figure drawings I didn't know what to do with. So I decided to turn some of them into woodcuts, but do them in a different way. So in this case, I cut out just a basic drawing, the linear drawing, and then I offset using the same process, but in the registration form of flipping it over and transferring the image. And so I transferred the image to the other side of the same block. And then instead of printing it as a relief print or as a woodcut, then I would actually go in and paint. And I know where to put the paint. I just paint the image, paint some background, print that first, which would be the colored area of the background. And then when that dried, just flip the block over, and again in registration, just print the linear stuff on top of it. And so it's a combination of monoprinting and relief printing. Relief printing being woodcut, linoleum cut, whatever.
So unlike the G-clay prints that we do, which
Oh.
can be done in different sizes.
Yes, good question. Good question. A lot of people are confused by the concept of an original print. A lot of people think print usually means reproduction. Woodcuts, linoleum cuts, any kind of this kind of printmaking is actually original art as opposed to G-clay prints, which are reproductions and can be made in any size. With this kind of printmaking, there's one size, that's the size of the block, and that's the only size it's ever going to be. It can be reproduced, I suppose, as a G-clay, but then it wouldn't be an original anymore. So, but it is a hard concept when people automatically print, oh, that's a reproduction. But in this case, it's the original. And everything, there are rules and ethics about doing it, about in terms of making additions. And when you addition something, well, there are addition numbers on them. The first number is the number of the print in that series. Right. And then the other number is the number of total prints.
How many you're going to print of each
Usually when I'm done, well, I have an idea before I start, but there are always a certain number of them that get messed up in the process. And so what I do is pick the best ones, the ones that I didn't screw up on, and count them up, and that's the addition number.
So it's not just an arbitrary.
No, and sometimes easier ones you can. Okay, I've done as many as 50 in an edition that but usually out of that 50 I may have done 60 or 65. Because every time you reprint a different color, you print a different color, it's another opportunity to screw it up. So the more colors you use and the more blocks you use, the more you expect to make mistakes, and you start with a larger quantity than you hope to wind up with ultimately.
So the number you write down is the actual amount at the end of the process.
Yes, yes.
You don't decide beforehand. It's right at the end.
Well, I have an idea beforehand how many I want to do, but it doesn't always work out that way. I'm working on one now that back in my studio that I had hoped to do 15 of them, but I think I'm down to an addition of like 7. So. Yeah. Yes, Taylor.
What would make you choose between a wood block and a vinyl cut for the image that you're doing?
I kind of go back and forth. Actually, right now, having worked on a couple bigger wood cuts, I'm thinking lino cutting. The linoleum's so much easier to cut, and you don't need to be as careful. The problem with wood is because you got a wood grain. And if you're trying to make fine lines, like in the pilings here, sometimes a little piece of wood will just chip out and be a nuisance. And then you can, actually this has been done a couple of times. So you go back with wood filler and then sand it smooth and recut it again. But you don't have that problem so much with linoleum because it's a softer material and easier to cut, and it doesn't have a wood grain. But on the other hand, sometimes you get a nice sense of the wood grain when you make the print, which you don't get from linoleum. Yeah, good question. Anything that, I know there's probably a million things I could have said that I didn't say.
I guess going back to the addition set, so you sit down and do all of them at once. It's not like you revisit the block later on and say, oh, I want to do 15 of these. Let me try to get a few more.
Actually, well, no. Well, you can make a new edition if, the ethics are, you have to make a significant change in one or more of the blocks. There have been times, well, like with the that harbor scene there, I did an edition just in black. And then when I went back, decided to add a color, I removed a lot of the black where the water is, so that's legitimately a second edition I could do from that. Now, I guess if I wanted to add a third color, I could go back in and make some more changes. But there has to be some significant difference between them, in order to call them a different edition. Unlike the G-clays, unfortunately, all you have to do is change the size a little bit, and it's a different edition.
Any other questions?
Emily, no questions? Oh, it's like, who's my favorite grandchild? I don't know. My most recent one. Yeah.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Yeah.
I think the correct answer is the next one.
There you go. Actually, this I just happened to bring this along. The one that we just looked at there. I've done another version of that. Oh, here's something I forgot to show. Here's more of the process with that big one that Taylor had here. It was done with 3 blocks, and she has the original there somewhere. Okay. So, and each block has to be proofed, so you want to know what it's going to look like. So these are proofs of the first block. So this would be a proof of the first gray, the lightest gray. And this would be a proof of the darker gray. This is a proof of the darker gray printed over the lighter gray. And then the one you saw there would have been the finished print. And this, I don't have a proof of all 3 of them, but the finished print we just saw has all 3 colors. And this is just the key block, just the black block, which is printed on top of everything else.
Do you ever sell the proofs?
No. Why, you want to buy one? No. So yeah, it's a much different process than painting. It takes a lot more thinking, a lot more preparation, and when you make a mistake, it's a lot more difficult to fix it. You just wait for the paint to dry and you can paint over it, and no problem. But when you make a mistake here, you have to, if you're doing a reduction print, you pretty much have to start over from scratch. With a multi-block print, you can, just make another, just fix one block or another and reprint. And this one, I don't know if you have one of these around here. This is just another. This is the first 4-block print that I did. I think that there's a light gray, a slightly darker gray, a medium gray, and then the black. All just printed one on top of the other. And the important thing in both cases with multiple blocks or reduction printing is just the registration to make sure that everything lines up one on top of the other. And that's one of the reasons they make extras sometimes, and registration's off or bump something, and so you get a little, everything doesn't line up one on top of the other.
Right.
Anything else?
Did I see a blue version of the moon tide somewhere in that pilot review?
Oh, you did, yes. Well, yeah, somewhere in here. And again, this is just to show various things. This is a proof of. There's one of these up in the hole. This is my very first, I think, reduction print where these are all these colors are from the same block. You can take a closer look if you want to take a But the whole block was initially just cut out everything I wanted white. So just cut out these little pieces of white, printed everything, the whole block yellow. And then I just cut out the little pieces that I wanted to stay yellow, like the clouds, and little bits and pieces here. Printed everything this tan color. And then I cut out everything I wanted to stay tan, printed the brown, and then cut out everything I wanted to stay that, and just printed the black over it. So again, when the block was done, the only thing left was these little areas where the black is. Everything else was gone.
Right.
But Taylor asked about this one. Yeah, this is actually made from the same 3 blocks as that tan one. But after I printed it and made an edition of 8, I looked back and I thought, there's some sloppiness in there, especially where there was some stray wood that I didn't even notice when I was printing. I didn't cut away, so can't have that. So I went back and I fixed the black block and reprinted it, printed it. And in the meantime, I decided I didn't like the blue, so I used the colors that you have now. But I can probably still, you can take that one if you want. It's all, people aren't bothered by the tree line over there. Because it is different. Oh, here's another one of the ones that Shelley just showed you. These are same print, same 3 blocks, just different colors. We haven't seen Emily since, just, I don't know, months. So, yeah. Anything else?
Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks for having me. I hope that's clear and okay.